In the early 20th century, Melbourne's water supply network had evolved rapidly. Maroondah and O'Shanassy were now capturing clean runoff from protected mountain catchments and delivering it via gravity to the expanding city. The waters of the Upper Birrarung were also being harnessed and diverted, but largely unstored. Melbourne itself was growing fast. By the 1920s, engineers recognised that the city didn't just need new water sources, it needed more strategic, scalable storage. Storage that could regulate supply, balance seasonal variation, and distribute water across an increasing urban landscape. This episode traces 4 key projects: Silven, Upper Yarra, Greenbell and Cardinia dams, each making a leap in how Melbourne managed its water, not just diverting it and collecting it for immediate use. Construction of Silven Reservoir began in 1926, just east of the metropolitan area. Unlike earlier storages, Silven was an off-stream reservoir, not built on a major river. Instead, it was designed to receive almost all its waters via transfers from the Upper Birrarung and O'Shanassy catchments through the aqueducts and further transfer mains. With no natural inflow, its entire function was just to act as a regulating basin, capturing surplus water in wet periods and releasing it during dry spells. When it was completed in 1931, Silven held around 40 gigalitres, making it Melbourne's largest reservoir at that time. Its location, just beyond the city fringe, made it ideal as a central hub for water distribution across the metro area. From Silven, a network of trunk mains branched out, feeding water north, west and south. Silven also represented a shift in engineering philosophy. Rather than rely on distant reservoirs and long delivery pipelines alone, Melbourne began building a layered water grid. Catchments in the highlands, storages at the edge of the city, and local buffer systems to manage demand in every suburb. But as the city continued to grow, and droughts loomed large in the 1930s and 1940s, planners once again looked upstream. One source again stood out: the Upper Birrarung. Although water had been diverted from the river in its upper reaches since 1928 via the aqueduct feeding the O'Shanassy system, the long-term plan had always been to include a major storage reservoir in the valley itself. That vision became a reality in the early 1950s. After delays created by World War II, construction finally began on the Upper Yara Dam, an ambitious rock and earth-filled embankment over 80 metres high and stretching nearly 1 kilometre across the valley. Completed in 1957, it created a massive reservoir with a capacity of around 200 gigalitres. This was Melbourne's first truly large-scale reservoir, almost 5 times the size of Silven. Strategically positioned in a high rainfall catchment, the Upper Yarra Dam became a key contributor to Silven and the broader metropolitan supply. Its unregulated overflow spillway, robust outlet towers, and long outlet tunnel gave operators precise control over releases, improving drought resilience and downstream flow management. With Upper Yarra and Silven in place, Melbourne was well positioned through the 1950s and early 1960s. But urban expansion wasn't slowing down, and the drought of 1967-1968 exposed vulnerabilities in the network, particularly in the northern and southeastern growth corridors. This prompted a new phase of planning, the development of 2 more major reservoirs, Greenbell and Cardinia, which would proceed simultaneously. By the late 1960s, construction commenced on both projects. Greenbell Reservoir, located north of the city, was designed as a 27 gigalitre off-stream storage to support the rapidly growing northern suburbs. Built by excavating a natural depression and forming the boundaries with earthen embankments, Greenbell also featured a small spillway due to its small natural catchment area and was equipped with more modern level management infrastructure. It gave the northern suburbs a secure, local storage for the first time and allowed for zoned flow control and demand balancing. Meanwhile, in the southeast, planners were tackling a bigger challenge. Cardinia Reservoir was being built to serve a much larger population footprint, stretching from Dandenong to Pakenham and down to the Mornington Peninsula. Construction of Cardinia began in May 1970 and was completed in 1973, the same year as Greenvale. But Cardinia dwarfed its northern counterpart, with a capacity of around 286 gigalitres, making it Melbourne's second largest reservoir, behind the future Thomson Reservoir. Cardinia was fed via a 12-kilometre pipeline, receiving water from Upper Yara and O'Shanassy, indirectly via Silven. It was Melbourne's first reservoir designed from the outset to support interconnected supply, with redundancies and also permitting future integration with future sources like the Victorian desalination plant or other supplies from Gippsland. Cardinia's embankment was one of the largest of its kind at the time, and it was equipped with advanced monitoring instrumentation designed to measure movement, pressure, seepage, and seismic effects. This introduced a new era of dam safety and long-term asset management. Together, Greenbell and Cardinia brought Melbourne into the modern era of urban water management. Built in response to the same drought, completed the same year, but designed for different regional goals, they represent the coordinated thinking that would soon underpin all future planning. Each reservoir in this episode played a distinct role. Silven brought operational flexibility and centralised distribution. Upper Yarra delivered high-volume catchment-fed storage. Greenvale enabled decentralised delivery in the growing north, and Cardinia prepared areas of Melbourne for future long-term resilience. Collectively, they didn't just increase storage, they created a multi-node, regionally balanced water grid, capable of adapting to climate variability, population growth, and complex urban demand. But even this system would eventually reach its limits. By the early 1970s, engineers, once more, were looking afield, into the headwaters of the Thomson River, where a bold new project was about to begin. One that would change the scale of Melbourne's water planning forever. In our next episode, we explore the Thomson Reservoir, the city's largest ever water source, and its staged delivery into Melbourne's supply system. We'll also look at Sugarloaf Reservoir and the Winnicky Treatment Plant, which together introduced a new era of integrated water treatment and off-stream storage capacity for Melbourne's northeast. I'm Paul Michael Langus. Thank you for watching.